Hey guys, it's Josh.
And my name is Will.
Yeah, today we're going to be doing a Arrow review for Season 2. I know it's a little bit late, and I was kind of debating whether to do it or not, but I decided why not. I enjoyed Season 2. I know Will watched a bunch of episodes of it.
Yep.
He seemed to enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
Let's begin, I guess. So I have a bunch of goods listed down and bads. Obviously, it's, opinion. That's what a review really is. So everything I say is not fact. But anyways, the first good I have is it had a strong story. I think one thing that this one really excelled at versus the past season was the fact that from the beginning of the season, it seemed like we already knew the story that was going to be told, which was, the fallout between Slade and Oliver, which is good. I think that's one kind of boost about having flashbacks on the show, is that you get more development from the past without having to go like time travel or anything like that. Even though I guess this is kind of like a similar format concept, but I think they pulled it off well. Also, I think the acting was much better in this season. Manu Bennett, the guy that plays Deathstroke / Slade Wilson, he was the best actor on this show, and I think Stephen Amell did a pretty good job too. I know CJ agrees with me here, but the girl that plays Laurel, she's still a bit flat to me. So is the girl that plays Thea.
Yeah.
I'm not really feeling their characters. That's why they're at least my least favorite characters. And before we go any further, I just want to say it's gonna be minorly spoilerish. I'm not gonna spoil the whole thing, but there will be some spoilers in here.
So that guy's name is Slade, right?
Yeah.
Slade, he's pretty much Deadpool, right?
No, Deathstroke.
Deathstroke.
Oh my.
Is that spoiler?
No. It's just that I know Deadpool's a parody of Deathstroke.
I meant Deathstroke. I know you did. Like, they're pretty much the same character.
Deadpool's on our mind.
What, Marvel and DC different characters?
You're just trolling us now. But anyways, I think the next thing that really helped this show, a good thing, is introducing metahumans. Obviously, they introduced Barry Allen before he became the Flash. We know he's going to become the Flash, though, and that show will be connected to the Arrow TV show. But, they introduced characters with super strength. I think that was really good, like durability, healing, all that stuff. I think that's only good for this show because it helps it expand even more. I think one issue people had with the first season was that they're trying so hard to be realistic that, they really restricted themselves to what they really could do. Not to say that, the first season didn't do a good job doing it. It's just that I didn't enjoy season 1 nearly as much as I enjoyed season 2. After that, I enjoyed the big push and transition they did with the protagonist of our show, Oliver Queen, to be a hero instead of a killer. Because I know there's a big complaint people have is pretty much she was just murdering people on this list left and right.
Dude,
so the fact that
if I could go around murdering people on the list left and right and be considered a hero, that'd be great.
Yeah, see, a lot of people didn't like that because they're like,
that just doesn't. It's not logical.
I understand. I guess if your crime fighting weapon of choice was a bow and arrow, I guess it would make sense that people would die.
I mean, if you think about it, though, most superheroes do kill people. Well, Superman didn't until recently.
Well,
but
I guess they kill people not directly, but in the just collateral damage and stuff.
But if you see if you watch Captain America 2, you see him smash the heads of people.
Well, that's Captain America though. He has no qualms about killing people he's fighting.
I mean, all right, never mind. We're just gonna. I agree with you in that point. I just think a lot of superheroes do kill a lot of people, but they're bad guys, and
I don't think there's anything wrong with heroes killing the people they're fighting against.
Yeah.
That's really it's kind of when people criticize that, it's kind of well, what about the military?
Yeah.
Because they're heroes, but, they kill.
Uh-huh.
They're not killing people in cold blood, though, but, they're,
It's warm blood, not cold blood.
Hot-blooded. Anyways, the next positive, I mentioned this before, is Slade. Slade, he was the shining star of this season. I think he was part of the reason this show really, and just like I said, also Manu Bennett was the best actor on this show, especially for this season. I definitely think his portrayal of Slade, even though it was a bit different from the comics, for what they gave us on the show, I thought it was really good. Every time Slade was on the screen, you enjoy every time he called Oliver kid, you've really felt his authority, and whenever he was on the screen, you felt his presence. So I think props out to Manu Bennett there. Also, Sarah, I enjoyed the character of Sarah. The only problem I had with her is that she kind of made Laurel basically pointless because Laurel's character is supposed to become Black Canary, and then you basically introduce Sarah, who's the Canary. Now, I know they didn't call her Black Canary, and there's a whole rumor going around that Laurel is going to become the Black Canary, while Sarah's just going to be the Canary. I don't know exactly yet how I feel about that, but all in all, Sarah was a pretty positive aspect on this show, just to give us a taste of the possibilities of Canary, Black Canary, whatever they're going to call her. Also, I liked Roy's character. I liked his journey, I guess he went on, so to speak. The only problem I have with the character is that they hinted and alluded at his training he was doing with Oliver, and then in the finale, just kind of assumed that we accepted he did all this training when it seemed like he did quite minimal training to just be thrown out there on the field with Oliver at the end. But obviously, spoiler alert, he doesn't have the Mirakuru anymore, or I guess technically in general for season 2, spoiler alert, he got injected with the Mirakuru, which gave him super strength, and then in the finale they took it away. He got the cure, and he's just a regular person again, and he's using the bow and arrows like Oliver. He's Red Arrow. Oh yeah. I think that's what they're gonna call him, is Red Arrow.
It's a pretty cool last name.
And my last kind of positive / good vibe I got from this season was the fight scenes and stunts. I know you enjoyed those, Will.
Oh, dude, there were some fight scenes in there where I was just like, damn, like, he's kicking ass. Like, it was great.
Yeah, like, whoever's in charge of the stunts and choreography for this show did one hell of a job.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's one thing this show's always excelled at, and also props to Stephen Amell and all the other actors on the show, because I know that, it's a lot of practice and a lot of training to do it, but they did it.
Yeah, I know I'm probably bringing this up a lot, but one of the main reasons that I really enjoyed Captain America 2 was the crazy awesome fight scenes. And I feel like this had a very similar, like, crazy awesome fight scene, so that made me like it a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, like, I think that's one thing that other superhero shows that, characters have superpowers, they kind of, like, lack in, is doing that. Because, if it's super strength, how do you really, like, if you're super strong, you're fighting a regular person, it's kind of hard not for you just to, like, punch them across the room and that's it.
Yeah.
Or, like, if energy projection, like with Smallville, I know they always struggled with that because, like, it's Superman. Basically, like, how are you gonna, hand-to-hand combat Superman without just introducing another Superman on the show?
Yeah.
So let's get to the bads. This show had a shit ton of Dark Knight Rises parallels. Everything from at the end, with like the city kind of being secluded from basically everything else, almost being bombed essentially. Slade kind of being like that villain from the past, kind of like how Bane was. It's just, I didn't really notice it that much. I guess I was trying to ignore it to give this show a fair chance. But when you really think about this show, this season versus The Dark Knight Rises, there were a lot of parallels. Like the beginning of the season, Oliver had retired from being, a vigilante, being a hero, and he was kind of being like he was reclusive, just like Bruce Wayne was in the beginning, and he had to be taken out of that by his friends who had helped him in his career, like Alfred with Batman and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Then he got back into the field. He got a few allies, like Catwoman or Canary, stuff like that. So it's just like it was there,
yeah,
and stuff like
it's definitely there.
Like you could feel the inspiration, but it wasn't to a point where you were like, it doesn't take away from the show too much. But I just think that the writers of the show could have done something more of their own with it.
Yeah. Especially
because Arrow has suffered a lot their first season from being compared to the Nolan films. So I just think this, doesn't help with that. But it's not that big of a deal. Talia al Ghul is another bad, not the character, but how they portrayed her at times. Because when she was fighting Oliver, for some reason, Oliver was even with her in hand-to-hand combat skills, if not a little bit more like an advantage. Like he was as if he was more experienced, which should not be possible, considering she's the daughter of Ra's al Ghul, League of Assassins. Like, from birth, basically, she was trained to be an assassin.
Crazy.
So I don't see how she would be equal to someone who trained for a maximum of 5 years on an island. So that kind of threw me off there. Also, Laurel and Thea. I didn't like any of those characters at all. The big reason I didn't like any of those characters was just how they were portrayed. But I feel like they didn't add anything to the show and just were there to cause... not the cause, but just be there to be the source of unnecessary drama that didn't add anything to the plot that we actually cared about. Like the whole Slade plot, Laurel, her subplot, Thea and her subplot. It didn't really add anything until like the whole Malcolm Merlyn reveal. Once that whole reveal was brought up, that actually got kind of interesting. But even still after that, at least for me, I just didn't like the character at all, to the point where I just didn't care. And I was really hoping she died in this show. I was hoping that Laurel died too, but obviously that didn't happen. Excuse me. Well, I know this will be a bit of a spoiler for you because you didn't watch the finale yet. But Detective Lance, right?
Yes.
I really like that character. Do you like that character?
Yeah, did he die?
He has a really pulled out of your ass death in the finale. Like, I guess he was poisoned or something. And it's so minor and so irrelevant.
Dude.
And even when they kind of try explaining it, when he's dying, there's that brief flashback to what happened, you're just like, how does that equivalate to that? And it's just, he just dies.
So it's just sort of left. So it's something that just sort of happened when it should have had a little bit more of a bigger.
Yeah, if it was gonna happen, then it should have we should have seen him be poisoned or something. It just seemed like it looked like he got thrown at a table, and I guess he hit something that poisoned him. And that was just kind of really, because he was one of the highlights of the show. I really liked the character.
Yeah. And
the character had a lot of character growth from the beginning. He just hated the Arrow, to now where he accepted the Arrow's place, helping out the police department. And now I really saw him as being the Commissioner Gordon on this show. Commissioner Gordon to Batman. Detective Lance was basically that to Arrow.
Lance.
Also after that, Anthony Ivo and Amazo. I'm not going to comment any more on that. I just thought it was stupid how they did that. And I wish they just made up a new character instead of using, Anthony Ivo and Amazo, because it literally was pointless, and it just came off as really stupid. Shadow, not the character, but the hallucination Slade had of the character was also quite stupid, because it was nothing like the character. But I do understand they are using that to, I guess, show the audience that Slade is crazy.
Yeah.
Now, but the whole thing, there was nothing to base off. If they had something to base, Slade viewing her like that as, that'd be one thing. But she was not like that at all. And then for Slade to just automatically, randomly just personify, her like that, it just seemed really weird. And it seemed like he was perverting the memory of Shadow for no justifiable reason.
Gotcha. Which
I didn't really like. And after that, the Brother Blood subplot, that was just stupid. Because it was actually quite interesting when they're building it up, and we got all this information Brother Blood killed his father, and covered it up, and all that stuff, and then he just turned into a puppet for Deathstroke. And it was just after that, pretty much, they just dropped the Brother Blood subplot. And I was left there thinking, that was really interesting. That could have carried its own season, actually.
Yeah.
Just the whole Brother Blood plot line, and Deathstroke could have been season 3. Because they were doing it very well, and I was actually really enjoying it. And the payoff could have been actually much more, rewarding after, all this slow burn build up. But alas, we didn't get that. So that's really it for my negatives, my cons, whatever you want to call them. A little kind of neat note here. Will, you watched Smallville, right?
I did watch Smallville.
Did you watch the whole series?
No.
Okay, well, at the end, you remember the blonde chick, Chloe?
Yes.
Alright, so did you watch it when they introduced Green Arrow to Smallville?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
it's been a while since I've watched
during Smallville, instead of introducing Bruce Wayne Batman to the show, because they weren't allowed to, they introduced Green Arrow. And Green Arrow kind of became the best bud of Superman in Smallville, kind of like how Batman usually is with them. And it's interesting because in the finale for Smallville, the final season and stuff, Green Arrow gets engaged and married to Chloe Sullivan.
Huh.
And they become a thing.
So it's an inner show.
Well, no, I thought it was interesting because Chloe was the tech person.
Yeah.
And who's the tech person in Arrow that they're really shipping right now between her and Oliver? The attractive blonde tech person. Yeah. So I just thought it was what if when the show began, instead of calling her Felicity, what if they just called her Chloe?
Yeah.
That'd be really funny. I think that'd be pretty cool. I hope in the future of this show they actually have Justin Hartley, who played Green Arrow in Smallville, in there.
Oh yeah.
Just a nice nod, kind of passing the torch thing.
Yeah.
It'd be something so simple, he'd just be another archer. Maybe he helped Oliver, perfect his archery skills, because as of right now, Oliver's really good with the compound bow, and really, I know I did archery. Compound bows are quite different from long bows. And
very, very different.
It seemed like Oliver was using a long bow when he was on the island, so I'm hoping they show, just maybe he trains with someone to like perfect his compound bow skills more, because some of the things he does on the show, there's no way really you could learn that type of skill on an island. You kind of have to be trained for that. So I'm hoping maybe like, you know, it could be a little thing like he runs into someone at a circus, an archery person, something like that.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be really cool if it was like Justin Hartley or something.
So let's take a second. How did you rate the first season of Green Arrow? Can you give me
Of Arrow, if I were to rate that first season, I'd give it like a 5 or a 6
out of 10?
Yeah, because it had good parts in it, and when it was good, it was enjoyable. But I just, all in all, the first season did not melt well for me.
And we both know that we both said that we liked the second season a lot better. So what would you say?
I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
The reason it doesn't get any higher for me is just that I could tell the writers were really trying this season more than last season for like fan service and to deliver Arrow like more like the Green Arrow like character itself. So I can see that potential there, and that potential shining brightly. But it's just, you know, a few things like, you know, it's a CW, so they have to force the love triangle in there. They have to force the subplots between the characters and their relationships that we don't care about.
Yep.
And, you know, it's just all in all, I just didn't like that. Also, just some of the, like I mentioned, Brother Blood, for example, how they just dropped that subplot. I didn't like that, really, because I actually felt kind of invested in that subplot before they dropped it. But, you know, the show is still really good.
Yeah.
I like the little Easter eggs they had in the finale, like Supermax Prison and, you know, things like that. So I'm not going to spoil it, but I'm looking forward to seeing how Oliver learns Chinese next season. And, yeah, that's it. How about you?
I was going to go with an 8.5 or an 8, something along those lines, because I love action-filled superhero shows. You know, that's pretty much what I pay attention for, and I thought they did a great job with the action this season. And I really liked the introduction of Deathstroke. You know, I thought he did a good job. Slade, is that his name, right?
Yeah.
Slade, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, I think they did a great job with him, and he was a great character in the season. And I thought it was just pretty great overall.
There we go. So comment below your guys' thoughts. How did you feel about the season? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What was your favorite parts, favorite moments, you know, just in general? And what would you give it? So, yeah, that's it. This is Josh, or Hybrid.
This is Will, not Mango Melon Mohawk
What's
anymore.
your new code name going to be?
Let's just make my code name Baja.
Baja. Oh, yeah, it's because we're unofficially sponsored by Mountain Dew's Baja Fresh.
Baja Blast.
Baja Blast.
Come on,
whatever.
man.
I'm thinking about Baja Fresh.
Damn
What's
it.
Baja Fresh?
It's a restaurant. It's like
true.
It's like
true.
it's like a Mexican, American Mexican Mex.
Okay.
Tex-Mex sort of fast casual.
All right,
well, that's
so-
not very important. But
3, 2, 1, outro.
yeah. You're just like